Hello, my name's Kim Crane, and I am doing a cultural presentation on Mexico and the United States. These will be the questions I shall be asking at the end of the video. Mexico is mostly a Spanish-speaking country, and it's highly influenced by Catholicism. The original goal of developing a Mexican identity was the idea of a mestizo, which is combining the European Spanish with the Indian to make a new Mexican identity. And the United States has been mostly Protestant, with Anglo-American superiority as a persistent theme. There are many folk myths in the United States. Much of them have been invented as part of developing American culture, but some of them have been altered and carried over, such as the boogeyman. Different ideas for good luck. You're going to pick up a penny, heads up, it's good luck. Heads down, it's bad luck. Other bad luck would be breaking a mirror or killing a ladybug. Bloody Mary could be either good luck or bad luck, depending on what she offers in that mirror. Mexican folklore has many myths, many of them coming from Europe as well, like El Coco, which is the boogeyman. But they have some new ones. Some of them are based on the Aztecs, such as the Quetzalcoatl and the Nahual, and the ones that are specific to Mexico and is La Pascualita. She's a ghost-like figure. Basically, she was she's supposed to have been embalmed and turned into a mannequin after she died. Common superstitions in Mexico is don't make tamales when you're upset, they'll come out bad. If you want to protect your children from the evil eye, you give them a red string bracelet. And good luck on New Year's Eve is to eat 12 grapes. In America, you eat black-eyed peas. And you avoid sweeping at night in Mexico, because that can bring you bad luck. Schools in the United States tend to be highly decorated. Most kids do graduate from high school, and they eat lunch at school, and they usually do not, American kids usually do not have to wear school uniforms. Technology is now a very heavy part of their education, as well as hands-on and group projects. In Mexico, however, there's school uniforms, no lunch at school, they go home, and almost either half or almost half of all students do not graduate from high school because it's a financial burden to send the kids to school. In America, it's very individualistic culture, so the nuclear family is more important than the family of origin, and there is more emphasis on your individual goals and your independence. Therefore, your particular spouse is more important than your parents. It's not that way in Mexico. Marriage is seen as a union between families, not just individualistic. There is an emphasis, especially generation-wise, the older generation is more about machismo and marianismo, which is masculinity and femininity. Um, the newer generations are trying to be more equal in gender roles, but they're still um, highly influenced by Catholic culture. Um, in America, very much about being casual and youth oriented, and we're very accepting of plastic surgery. In our medicine, we are about using technology, whether it's prescriptions or surgeries. Um, we want our own autonomy, make our own informed consent. But in Mexico, because America it's so expensive and they don't have universal health care, there's a lot of American tourists coming to Mexico for treatments. Um, but in Mexico, unlike America, mental health is more of a stigma, and the doctor-patient relationship is more paternalistic. Because of Catholicism and masculinity and femininity ideals, um, there's more emphasis on dressing more formal for professional and social settings, and more emphasis on grooming and being presentable rather than the casualness of America. In the United States, punctuality is extremely important. Being on time is respectful. There is a space that comes from the needing to have more space between people. People nod in the United States. It doesn't mean they're agreeing. It just means that they're being attentive and listening. And smiling is considered friendly and positive. In Mexico, there's a lot more closeness. There's air kissing. There's more touching of people. It's a relaxed sense of time. It's expected to be a little bit late. And people are more used to having less personal space because of the various layouts of certain areas of their places of business. In the United States, there is a distrust of the government and a high value on individual freedom, such as speech and religion and the right to bear arms. People respect those that went to the military. And although they say they respect voting and jury service and stuff like that, there's not that much participation in it. Ownership of property and having private property rights is strongly valued. And it's more of a emphasis on individual responsibility and accountability. Whereas in Mexico, I guess because the corruption is common, bribes, people need to be more flexible and adaptable and have when they're dealing with bureaucratic situations, they use their personal connections, or they bribe or use coyotes to help get through the system. There is no idea of the right to private property, and instead it's a social function of the property. And your rights and your duties are mostly about respecting your elders and your parents, and being socially oriented. I learned a lot in my research. A lot of it I didn't put in this video, but it had to do with the history and art, and what it means to be Mexican movements and what it means to be American movements. And I really was impressed upon me that it's very important to make sure you say goodbye when someone leaves a room. I was also surprised by the call and response rote learning. And it's very similar to how maybe attention grabbers are in a classroom, but maybe it can be used for other games and activities. The, the questions that I asked were, how do the citizens of the United States and Mexico differ when it comes to property ownership? Mexicans have a complicated relationship to property. There's no concept to the right to property, just social function. Mexicans eat la 12 uvas de suerte for good luck on New Year's. And a red string bracelet protects you from the evil eye. And Marianismo, that's a new concept for me, is based on the Virgin Mary femininity. And these are my references. Thank you very much.